Welcome everybody to the After Dark Show. I'm Don Rogers. Joining me tonight is a really interesting guest, and he's my fellow Canadian. His name is Jay Skyrunner, and he's from Nova Scotia, Canada. And we're going to get into some really cool stuff. When I was ill a few months ago, Jay actually reached out and made me a video to help with my healing while I was in the hospital, and it actually lifted me up quite a bit. Like I was in some pretty down times, and even the motion of what he walked me through in this video was really helpful. So I want to welcome Jay to this show, and we'll go over what we're going to get into tonight.
Hello.
Hey, there you are. Sorry, I like everybody knows, I'm still running off my cell phone, so it's kind of willy-nilly, but
Same here. I'm on my phone as well.
yeah. So yeah, we actually already have a bunch of people in the chat. Like I was telling you earlier, there's BG Cast, there's Selena Ingalls, there's JJ. Like you already had an audience before you got here. So for my small viewership, this is kind of cool.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm not used to having anyone really listen to me and watch me.
So as I was saying, we're going to get into some stuff. I know you've kind of tweaked your practice now, but you started off in Qi Gong. And when I come at things like this, I'm very new to this. Like I just had my spiritual awakening about a little over a year ago because of some astral experiences we can talk about later. But like I love getting into these things like energy work because of my current understanding of the way the universe works. This is all very relevant, and a lot of this has been hidden from us or taken away, or gatekeeping and all of that sort of thing. And I think just taken away from us because we're not supposed to know how to heal ourselves. So I would love to, if you can get into like the backstory of like what is Qi Gong and where it came from, and if we can really go from there.
Okay. Yeah, like you say, they did hide it from us. Like people think alternative medicine, but this is the real medicine, not pharmaceuticals. I like to think of it as, well, when I was developing my own method of Qigong, like when I did a video for you, I call it like our energy medicine cabinet. Why go to the doctor and get prescriptions when you can focus on what you need right now, right? Instead of learning a whole modality, you can turn it into what's needed, whether it's like a kidney problem or lung problem. You can just, I put together things that you can do on your own just to do that, right? And healing's really easy. That's why I don't really like to call it Qigong anymore, because people think of it as the monks in the robes in the Shaolin temple and big, long, complicated forms. But Qigong really just means energy work when it's translated. So that's why I call mine celestial energy work. I call it celestial Qigong, but I'm trying to step away from the word Qigong, even though Qigong is very powerful, just so it doesn't really it ain't tied to a system, right? Because I think a lot of healing modalities, I'm not saying anything bad about healing modalities. They all work. But where we are in this 3D construct, I think a lot of false light is coming in with a lot of it, even including Qigong, because we hold people as masters and gurus when we are the co-creating gods ourselves and we are our own healers. So mine isn't just a system that I want to get out there. It's to teach people how to turn it into their own, like become self-realized, right? Like become the I am, not the limited mind, body, consciousness. Because a lot of times when we're learning modalities, we're still in the ego, right? Because we're learning a system and we're not really tapping into our own soul that resides in behind the heart of the I am, right? So we are creator gods ourselves, and I can get more into that later if we want to talk about simulation theory and the construct that we live in and stuff.
Yeah, we do.
But I always been having astral travel out of body since I was a kid. So I was always into this stuff, but I'd always go away from it, come back. I played music in bands and toured. Of course, with that comes a lot of drinking and partying and all good stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so I always stepped away from it. Sometimes I get shut off. Like they wanted me to operate in two worlds at once, because you don't want to be this person that walks around just being the spiritual person all the time. You got to operate in this world as well too, right? So a few times, like my clairaudient got shut off, my astral travels got stopped. Then I got messages that was reasons why I was stopped. So off and on throughout the years, that would happen. And I was always into like magic and stuff, like telekinesis and It's kind of weird. My friends thought I was strange. We used to have parties at jams, and I'd be drinking beer and doing little tricks on people and making them feel my energy. And that's before I knew about Qigong. But my father got into Qigong, and he healed people with different diseases like tongue cancer and stuff. And he gave me the course. He was doing an online course with this master, Qigong master anyway. So he gave me his books, and I just said, I'm going to learn it. Well, what happened was he passed away. Then I ended up taking all of his books and the CDs and his courses. I wanted to learn it because I had lung problems. And within the first week of doing it, I healed my lung problems. Like, it just went away so that quick. So I started getting into it more. I'm like, okay, this really, really works. So I started doing the Qigong meditations, and the first time I tried it, I became clairaudient. I couldn't get through the meditation. I could only get like 4 minutes into it, and then I had these voices coming in. That was back in 2011. So I had a book. I had a video on my YouTube where I talk about the channelings, and everything was meant for now times. I was trying to get the information out since 2011 for everything that's going on now in this world, but it's hard to get the information out, right? Because, people are into different things. And at the time, the New Age spiritual community was big. And I was going to those meetings, and I could see the bullshit right through it. And I was kind of the bad boy of the New Age spiritual group. Like, everyone was shouting at me, "You're wrong, you're wrong," and it was just that, right? And I just kind of kept things to myself. I just kept channeling, writing the messages down. And I had different beings coming in, like even fallen angels, the Pleiadians, Arcturians, remote. I call it remote viewing, but I don't know. I think I'm bilocating. There's a few times I was on the moon. I've seen the Galactic Ascension machine, the Karma Trap. I've seen lost souls on the moon, and it looked like on the backside of the moon there was a forest, and there was people just kind of wandering through it. There's kind of crazy stuff like that, right? Then, I did the last couple of podcasts. I talked about certain things, so we'll try to keep it a little different tonight, unless you want to talk about some of the same things. So I started doing my Qigong every day. And just the more you do it, the more powerful you get, because we have our Qi energy. It's like our general energy, everybody, the universal energy. A lot of times it gets depleted, right? From the way we live, work, the foods we eat. And the more you do it, I call it building our guardian Qi. So we're building up extra Qi within our body. So we always have a surplus for if we need it for ourselves. You may stay healthy forever just because you have that surplus of Qi, or you can use it to heal other people, and you're not depleting yourself because you have your guardian Qi fully built up. So you only need to do it 5 minutes a day. I find if you get into long, complicated practices, it's too much, right? And sometimes I got it now. So our meditation, it can only be 30 seconds if you want it to be, right? Once you connect that connection with the universe and what you want to do, if you put your attention out, you don't have to meditate for hours and hours like people thought you had to do.
No, and there's a question in the chat as well. Is Jay familiar with, I can't pronounce the word.
Let me see. Look here.
It's up on the screen here. Is Jay familiar with the night hand practices?
Neidhan.
Oh, okay. I know what they mean. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I think I looked up a lot of things like that, and I see a lot of similarities in the information I'm getting with a lot of things that people studied. I try not to study things because I don't want to develop a belief system.
Yeah.
How some people resonate with things and they'll develop a belief system, and then really it's not your own higher mind anymore because you're developing a belief system on things that resonates. I just if things resonate, I just kind of put it in the back of my head and just let it simmer there, right?
Yeah. Getting into any belief system, I think, is dangerous because then it becomes dogmatic, and then you just kind of get stuck in that. No. Before we get too far away from it, you mentioned something about lungs, and I actually wanted to ask you about that because I actually have a friend in Ontario who is on the list for a double lung transplant. He actually just went and got his bronchial anchors put in the other day, and he's damn near there. Sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. The guy's like my best friend.
Yeah. Right.
But I was wondering if because he watches my show, if there is anything that he could be doing in his own home right now to the doctors are astonished he's even alive. I was just wondering if there's anything that he can do to be cycling his energy and keeping himself up, because sometimes he gets really worn down, and he's a very ill man, but he just needs to hang on a little longer to get new pipes.
Yeah, for sure. What I'd like to do is maybe I can make a video for you that you can give to your friend.
I would love that, and I thank you so much, Jay. That would be amazing.
Yeah, with the lungs, lungs is an important organ, I guess, where we get our air to oxidize our blood and stuff. There is definitely techniques. Like I say, I cured myself with lung disease, COPD, a couple times because I always was bad. Like I still smoke cigarettes. You know what I mean? It's one thing that's hard to give up. Yeah. And with the lungs, yeah, this I do one. If anyone wants to know, I just I just use my arms to breathe out and in, like bring your arms out and breathe into your lungs. Then exhale, just picture smoke leaving your lungs, right? So inhale energy into your lungs. I just picture like white healing energy coming in, filling my lungs up completely. Then just exhale, picture smoke leaving. And sometimes that's enough, right? Because it's simple. If you can just, concentrate on doing that for 5 minutes a day, or, if some people want to, when I was trying to heal things, I would do it longer, but I would put on like some cool music in the background. Like I used to like putting on like martial art, kung fu, oriental music in the background. I would get really deep into it and just do it over and over.
Yeah.
That's like a technique you can do, but also you got your mind, but you can use your mind too, right? Like saying to yourself, like talk to your body, talk to yourselves, talk to your cells, because our cells listen, they're conscious, right? So you can say, I'm talking to them, the cells within my lungs, they're becoming nice, bright and shiny. All negative energy is being removed. There's all kinds of things. I could go on forever about it, right? Like you can talk to your innate DNA smart body that's been with us through all incarnations. It can stem from past lives. You can just say, do the contract revocation where you break all contracts with any past life trauma or sickness that can develop in where we're living now. I have contract revocations that you say to yourself in the universe that can break those. I call it spells. But your innate smart DNA smart bodies, that's how we have cellular memory to access the Akashic records. It's through our DNA. Our DNA has been with us forever, right? Through all incarnations. It's like we have a soul. It's a little complicated than our DNA smart body. It's been with us forever. We can talk to that. I like to say, I see all the cells vibrate and get nice and shiny, healing myself completely from any issues I have through every tissue, cell, and fiber of my entire being. So your DNA smart body will start working on itself, because we command it, right? When we're busy and don't know this stuff, we're out working, we're doing our things, our thoughts, our emotions, and just this suit that we're in is starting to get wore down. So we got to talk to the internal, I call it the DNA smart body. That's what Qi Gong does too, because we're working with our Qi energy, which is basically the same thing. That's the energy that goes to a DNA cellular level that runs through us, right? Here and other timelines and other alters of ourselves that we can. I could ramble on about this forever, but I'm not a very good talker, but once you get me going, it just flows in. I can't stop myself.
and this is actually right in my wheelhouse. I actually have a paper on my Facebook page that I ended up getting from a download, and it was about exactly this. Like, I did a whole bunch of research because I woke up knowing a whole bunch of stuff, and what it broke down to is that the governments of the world over the last, since like the late 40s, early 50s, have been trying to figure out how much digital information you can store on DNA. Well, the most recent thing that I could find is 13.5 billion years worth of data on the average human's DNA. Well, the crazy thing about that number is that is also the perceived age of our known universe. So if you line up those two things, like I've even broke it down to my son, like every one of us at one point of existence was a single cell, right? Because we're taught a certain thing in sex ed, like, okay, mom meets dad, dad meets mom, and they like each other and they do some stuff and exchange some fluids, and there comes a baby. Well, that's great. Where did the sperm and egg come from? Well, my testicles and my ovaries. Where did it come from before that? Well, it was.
Yeah.
What was it before that? What was it before that? It was a single cell. And that cell had the intelligence to make Don, Jay, our listeners, like everybody.
Well, that's why we are all one, right? With everything. If you take that cell you're talking about and you break that down to its finest structure, that everything's made of the same thing, whether it's your table or us. You know what I mean? Then if you look at like now, like if you look at quantum entanglement, when they actually figured out what that looks like, it's the yin and yang. I think I sent that to you one time, or Spinja. That's kind of crazy that they're coming out with, but that's the yin and yang sign now.
Yeah.
Another thing with healing too, it ain't all about just the Qi Gong or the modalities. It's the inner knowing, right? When I talk about the innate DNA smart body, or we think of our true selves outside of this construct, we are, once we realize that we are gods, we can't be sick once we realize that. Right now we can be sick within this construct because we don't know who we are, right? Think of it this way, yeah. It's okay, I kind of lost my train of thought on where I was going with that, but
I think you're heading into the fact that we can control our own health once we realize that we're the way I've always, well,
yeah,
recently.
No, yeah, exactly.
What's that?
Oh, I said, yeah, you're right. That's basically it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. I don't know what brought me to this realization, but when I realized I'm basically a voice in my own head, I was like, okay, so this vessel is a really cool machine that I'm in charge of. So I have to take care of it, but I also have to teach it to fix itself. And that's exactly what I think these modalities do.
Yeah, and sometimes we get sick as a learning lesson. They say to become a healer, you must first learn to be healed, right? Like right now we're in a time where it's heal the unhealed healers. That's the message that I'm getting, right? Like we're all healers, but we're kind of brainwashed, right? So we got to heal ourselves. We got to heal the unhealed healers to help awaken. Because you were talking about our bodies, a complex machine. This is the ultimate DNA skin suit technology of the multiverse. You know how all the different alien races gave out their DNA to create this skin suit, right? And our 23rd chromosome is Pleiadian. You know, Pleiadians had a big part in this. They are our cosmic brothers and sisters. We think we're just some low-life human, right? Like I call it like we're the Trojan horse. Like once we activate, it's game over for AI and the Archons and the Dark Forces. But they're keeping us dumbed down with the air we breathe. You know, I mean, the food we eat, the water we drink, and with the thing that it's all about our DNA and the little poke thing there, and they're doing because they know that we're about to activate, and they're doing everything in their power to stop it. And the worst of it is with the disclosure community and people like us in this community is a lot of us are focusing our attention on the negative. Like we're putting too much attention into the negative stuff, like the dark regressives, the government black ops. We're paying our attention. So when we pay our attention, we're taking a cosmic debit from ourselves and giving it away, right? It's cool. Like it's all interesting when you want to learn about Montauk and all the evil programs, but everyone's so fixated on it. They're not realizing that they're putting their focus on that and saying, oh, poor me, playing the victim mentality. We're not realizing that us here are the ones that need to do the work on ourselves now. Yeah. We're neglecting that part, right? I talk about this a lot on my YouTube, the whole victim mentality, the poor me thing. Like it's hard to get out of that because I've been in that myself, right? Like whether we're just blaming the world and our jobs around us. I think we just got to realize like what we are. Like my mission, human mission, is to activate. We're not here just to be born and die and reincarnate over and over and over. Yeah. It's not losing my train of thought. I got too much to say on this topic, I guess. I'll leave it for a little bit for now. But it is like we have to activate our own DNA, realize that we are creator gods. Some of us are trapped in this construct, and most of us chose to come here as star seeds. A lot of us incarnated through the back door of incarnation, I call it, not a part of the soul trap, to help bring these energies in here, right? We're the Savior program is what gets me. Everyone's waiting for the return of Jesus. You know what I mean? Then we had the New Age. So Christianity failed. They bring out New Age. New Age failed. You know what I mean? There's always a Savior program, or else we're waiting for Trump to save us, or we're waiting for the aliens to come. But the messages I'm getting from the archangels and the ascended masters and the Pleiadians, they're saying, wake the fuck up. We're waiting for yous. You guys are the ones that we donate all our DNA to. You have more powerful than every being in the multiverse once they activate. But just we've been so dumbed down that we're not activating. We're not doing the self work.
I totally agree. And I think one of the other things that's coming down too is Christ consciousness. Like, I don't know where you stand on that, but it's kind of a mix. Like, everybody's like, nobody's coming to save you, but it's because we're already here, right?
Yeah.
We just have to activate enough of us, or enough of us need to kick online that have this type of understanding about our actual reality, that's how it's going to go down. That's just my take on it, but
No, I think you're right. I try not to think of Christ consciousness too much, but I had some astral travels out of bodies where I went through other dimensions where I was activating a part of the universe where they did call it the Christ consciousness. We'll get into that in a minute, but another thing too, we don't work together on our 3D level. Like, you know, our neighbors would rather see their neighbors starve instead of help them when people are having hard times. We live in disunity, right? And the way to come together as we are all one, like the word community means common unity, but we're in disunity. And it's hard to get back to a common unity where we are a community that helps each other and works each other. Like the disclosure community, everyone argues of who's right, who's wrong. This person hates that person. You know what I mean? Like, I was watching the whole feud. Like, this person's right. Oh, they talk bad about this person. If everyone knows so much, why are they feuding? They should be working together. You know what I mean? Even if I reach out to some of these so-called famous YouTubers, I can't get a response from them because they're only in it for monetary gain, service to self, not service to others.
yeah, I totally agree with that. And like, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. No. Shit. Where was I going to go with that? That just happened. Like, wow.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
No, and I think that's part of a lot of what's going on with, I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of us are coming into an understanding of the way the universe works. Like, a lot of the people that I like, Steven, who's in the chat, our producer that runs FKN, like, a lot of these people, I don't know about your personal story, but and not just men, people that are coming into their spiritual awareness seem to be like some of the most hard fought individuals. Like, and I'm not saying we're all finding God in religion. I'm saying it seems like a lot of us in a certain age bracket are all coming to an awareness, and a lot of them are very damaged individuals.
Yeah. A lot of this comes from our so many times of living here too, right? We get damaged through all incarnations. It's now I keep losing my train of thought. But you know what I mean? Like, if we can, I keep saying if we can wake up ourselves here, but it's hard, right? But you go back to 2011 when it was all New Age or just religion. If we talked about this stuff, everyone would say you're fucking batshit crazy. But now, even if people are waking up a little bit, I'm finding guys at work that are talking about direct energy weapons. They're talking about, so the masses are waking up on a great scale right now. You know what I mean? Like, now it's a normal thing to walk down the street and find somebody that you can talk to this stuff about. One time you couldn't. So we are moving into an age of the awakening. It was supposed to happen a while ago, but we didn't do it on our own. So that's why we have the new light that's coming in, incoming light that's hitting us. Because basically the universe can't wait much longer, or the other realms, right? Because the way I'm getting it in astral travel and different dimensions I've been going to, whether it was that or SSP stuff, we're destroying other worlds, right? Especially with the nukes here. And we don't want AI takeover going out of this frequency into other realms, because AI already destroyed other planets, right? Like, this has been going on with the Orion Wars since the times of Lyra, right? So that's why they are trying to assist us. They're not coming here to save us. They're giving us that incoming light, telepathically communicating with us. they want us to wake up because we're the ones that need to kind of save them, right? Because this has been going on for a long time. You know, like the galactic history, the galactic wars, it's been going on forever. It's like here in this realm we live in, like we're talking about incarnations carrying over past life trauma and DNA memories. It's like the saying, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
Like the karma trap, it could be a trap, and it also can be a school for us to learn. It's both, right? People argue whether it's a learning school or else a prison planet. It's both. Nothing can come in, nothing can get out, and we've been like this for 52 million years, if you want to put it in linear time. So,
yeah,
like I think now, when you talk about Bible times, I think now we are in the days of Noah again, right? Nothing new under the sun. Like you could have been Noah, I could have been Cain. We all were different characters throughout the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense to anybody, I don't know.
It does. And when you're talking about astral travel, are you experiencing it while you're asleep, through meditation, while you're awake? Like, what is your process?
It's spontaneous. Like I don't try to have them. Like I'll lay down, then I'll wake up. Sometimes I'll wake up in sleep paralysis. Sometimes I don't make it out of body. Like I was having demonic attacks and sleep paralysis one time. Then I would get out of my body and have to battle these things in my bedroom. Then other times I'll lay there and I'll get whooshing sound like a train running through my head. My solar plexus will vibrate so bad it almost hurts. Then I'll shoot out of my body. And sometimes I'm in my room and things still feel physical. It's weird. I think maybe I'm not, everything's still a little dense, right? So I can actually touch things. Sometimes I can't get through the walls. Sometimes I'll float up, hit my head on the ceiling. And other times when I shoot out, I'm on a different dimension. Like one of the last ones I had, I ended up in, I don't think I was on a ship, but there was two Arcturian beings there, like a mother and father figure. And they were telling me that, they told me a lot, but like my mind gets wiped a lot when this happens.
Yeah.
But the main thing I remember that they told me is that when we all start working together and we're activating our superpowers, when we meet somebody else that's activating, we will see their eyes glow blue. That way we'll know that we're activating together. So I don't know if that's like some kind of a Marvel superhero thing down the road. You know, maybe next year we'll start, our eyes will change and we're like, okay, we're activating our powers. And but that was a message I got from them, right? But I had a lot more. Like I said, I just can't remember. But it was like I was standing on a planet because I could look up and I seen like different moons and stuff there as well. There was other times where I would leave my body, and it was like I would go somewhere out in the universe, and I would go into an Arcturian ship, and there was a blue energy chamber, and our consciousness or our spirit body or whatever can go to that chamber and manifest a body to have an experience on their ship or to learn things and bring information back here. So that happened a few times as well.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, yeah.
Do you think, because I've had a lot of, I stole the term from Karen Holton. She's another podcaster at FK, and she uses the
phrase, I've been talking to her.
She uses the phrase transdimensional, and I've had a lot of those experiences. Like I pretty much every time this body goes to sleep, I wake up somewhere else.
Hey, yeah,
right.
Yeah,
it's almost like, well, it's 3 or 4 times a week, right? And like that's why I look like I never sleep, because I don't, right? Do you think that there's a way that you can select what reality you're waking up in when you choose to put this vessel to sleep?
I think you probably can. Like right now, I don't know, because I'm doing the same as you. I'm ending up in different places, but sometimes I go back to the same place. So I think I'm having a complete other experience, and you know what I mean, on another timeline, because I'll go back to that timeline. But I don't recognize anybody, but I know them, and sometimes it's like I left off of where I left off last time. Like I'll have a nap for half an hour, and I feels like I spent like 20 years on another whole other level of existence, right?
Absolutely. I 100% get what you're talking about. And yeah, like I know Rob from Typical Skeptic has had the same type of experience. Like he's a farmer. Like I've been in the same relationship with my wife, just in a different house, right? Like I've seen, like, it's very bizarre, but like, and I'm there as much as I'm here. It's almost like I'm going to sleep there, waking up here, going to sleep here, waking up there. Like,
Yeah, I think too, because we are creator gods, right? I think we are creating our own dimensional spaces as well. Just some people think it's time travel or time, but time is really thoughts, right?
yeah,
So a lot of times we're creating our own dimensional spaces within this construct that we live in. And sometimes we share those with other people, right?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you ever have dreams and where there is people you know, and like you say, you've been with that person anyway. Like, we can be creating dimensional spaces, like other realities, and inviting other people in it, even though we don't know it. Like, we don't know we're doing it through dream. I call it dreamtime societies, right? Like, so like, I think when we pass away, we're going to wake up and realize that this was a dream, and we have all these other realities that we're overseeing, right? Okay, oversoul maybe breaks itself off into mini. Like, we are creating. That's how the SSP and Black Ops use it too. Like, we are breaking
yeah,
off pieces of soul shards. Soul shards are going out in the universe, pieces of our consciousness that can inhabit, or we're going to another baby being born here, or on a whole other timeline, and be a part of us somewhere else. And we bring back those memories to ourselves here, or clone
I
bodies, either way.
I believe that because it was wild. A few weeks, well, probably I'm terrible with time because of all this shit that I go through. Um, I woke up the one morning and I got to like 10 feet outside of our door, and I turned back and looked at my wife, and I'm like, I was just with Matt Mornian, Honora, and Aurora Diamond Heart. And I posted it on Facebook, and then Piper Paprika chimed in. She's like, those three people are together, and I was just with them. And I'm like, it was a
Yeah,
tropical environment. I'm like, get the fuck out. Like, I was just blown away. Like, I
yeah,
was there while I was sleeping here.
yeah. No, it's crazy all the experiences we have. Like, I can't say for sure what's what or not, right? Because, like I said, I don't have no belief system in anything. It's just wild experiences, right? We don't know. Like, we can't pretend that we can put our finger on it and know everything about it. It's just that it happens, and it's great to talk about it because we learn more by talking about this thing, right? Like, all this stuff. And
Oh,
I had these
yeah.
experiences too with Christy Campbell and Priscilla. Like, we have the same memories of different stuff. Like, I think we have other alters doing things,
Yeah.
together, and we're bringing that information back to here. At the same
Yeah.
time, we still got to work on ourselves here, right? Instead of putting all of our attention into alters. Like, a lot of people that are playing the victim in the trauma, they do say, poor me, oh my God, they're doing this. My alter, I was in Montauk. Our alters made agreements with us and our higher selves to take the abuse so we don't have to hear. So would that make it seem like a good thing instead of a poor me thing? I'm being tortured on this altar and these bad memories. No, we're okay here because our alters
Yeah.
agreed to do that because they want us to prevail here, right? So,
Yeah.
so you know what I mean? So we can take that and say, you know what? I've got alters out there. Let's go through this shit so we can learn how to become what we're supposed to be here in this reality that our consciousness is running in this body.
Yeah. I don't know if you know, that's actually what kicked my awakening, if you want to call it that. Stephen from BG Cast calls it the remembering, and I think that's more of a valid term. Um, I had a succession, and it went on for like 9 nights. The severest part, it was like nightmare after nightmare after nightmare. Like, I pissed myself the one night. It was so terrifying. I was like on another existence, and I was being dropped into these clone bodies over and over again to fight these reptilians in defense of what looked like a new version of Earth, right? But it was just my consciousness going into a dummy, right? And that dummy was like, go to fight these things, and then I would die, or I'd get my teeth smashed out, or I'd get shot in the head, and I'd wake back up. And there were nights where it was like 30, 40 times a night that I was dying, and then I'd wake up back here, and it's like, what the
Yeah.
was that? Right?
Yeah. No.
And it was actually Canadian Spinja, like, almost had to sit on me to make me watch Typical Skeptic with Arkeem Raw. And she's like, this makes sense. This is what, and I'm like, I ended up crying at the end of that episode. Like, I was never in Montauk that I am aware of. I'm not saying I wasn't. I'm just not aware of it. But it was just so relatable, the experiences and the process that he was talking about. I was like, holy shit, that's what's happening. My conscious, I realized I was seeing another variation of my conscious existence.
Yeah, it's weird how things trigger you. Like if I watch certain movies, like The Highlander, and that Queen song comes on, it
Yeah.
triggers memories of me living in medieval times. It's crazy. Like certain things like that. Like, and if I watch anything with Brandon Lee or Bruce Lee, it just triggers memories of, I don't know if I was around in their time or not, right? Like, and I had an incarnation that wasn't that long ago. Like I was here in the 50s. Like certain songs will bring back memories and, you know, make you teary-eyed and brings back memories of things that didn't happen here. You know what I mean?
Oh,
But when I'm
absolutely. Yeah,
so
go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna go back to the astral travel, like when you're in sleep paralysis. I went through a few years of a lot of demonic attacks or entity attacks, and now it's to the point that I just laugh. Like last one got on me and I couldn't move, so I just started laughing. You know what I mean? And it was like I reached over and I grabbed his foot and I was like, "Hi, I'll tickle your foot." You know what I mean? I'm just being foolish, and they disappear. But the one night I got out of the body, like finally get out of sleep paralysis, this entity, it looked like a cross between the predator and the alien from the movies, grabbed me from behind. And I started like elbowing it behind the head, and I turned around and I shot lasers at my eyes and blew it through the wall. There was a few times, like one was like had knives, sharpened his knives in the kitchen, gonna try to come at me. It looked like a stick man. And I kind of, same thing. I was like, I had powers where I got rid of it. And well, one of the weird things was like when I was drinking a lot, I was on a bender. This is going back 2011, basically when all this more started more. I ended up drinking myself to in the hospital. So what I do, I come home and I drink more. I pass out. Then I must have been out of body. I'm not sure. It felt like it was like as real as me and you talking. But all these trolls started appearing in my room and attacking me. And somehow I grew big like the Hulk, and I started attacking these trolls and beating the shit out of them. Then they were running from me, jumping out the window and going. Then it's like I ended up into another place on this earth, and the troll was running away from me. I was chasing it, and he ran beside this woman. He started vibrating and spinning and shot into the woman to get away from me. So that woman ended up with that troll entity inside of her. That was pretty messed up.
That's awesome. Like, I
Yeah,
love that
pretty cool.
I love that you can bring this stuff back. Like, I do have some memories of, like, I guess you refer to it, I think, as dream walking. Like, because I think that's more of what I'm doing than an actual astral projection. It's like I'm waking up somewhere else. Like, I don't even know how to explain it.
No, same here. I don't know really how to explain it either. I can just talk about the experiences.
Yeah.
What else? I'll just try to think of another crazy one from the past. Oh, there's a few, but I think a lot of times in these altars or SSP things, I'm not physically there as an altar. I'm bilocating my soul or my spirit body or whatever, astral body from here will go there and bilocate and view what's going on, and no one can see me because I went to an underground base. I talked about this in the other podcast, but in case no one knows about it, I appeared at an underground base somewhere, and there was a being there. He wasn't a gray as an alien, but he was a gray-skinned person, about 7 foot tall, bald, with big black eyes, but he was very humanoid looking. And it looked like he wore nothing but like a loincloth. I mean, like a cloth diaper on him. But he was they were bringing people in there. He was torturing them. He had surgical devices. But he could sense that I was there. He was looking all around, and I was getting scared like he could see me or be able to grab me. But he'd walk right through me. But he sensed that there was something there in that chamber with him, but couldn't physically see me, right? And I went back to that spot about 10 times over the last 10 years. And one time I went out of the room that he was in, and I seen tunnels with men, women, and children in like caves with like gated doors, keeping them trapped in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that is, but there is people talking about underground tunnels and all that stuff. So I might have been bilocating there to
it's fun,
witness some of that.
It's funny that you bring this up because when I first kicked online, I was like, okay, like I was starting to learn some of the stuff that you're talking about, and it was just coming to me. I'm like, okay, well, what the hell do I do with this? And I ended up going to sleep. I woke up with an entire head full of military knowledge from like the last 100 years, and ended up going
Yeah.
on Rob's show. I showed him where there was bases hidden in British Columbia. I showed him about the dew line, the pine line. Basically, before a direct energy weapon was referred to as a dew, there was something called the distant early warning system that are military installations all across North America that nobody talks about anymore because they've just
Yeah.
disappeared, and some of them required entire towns to care for them,
Yeah.
right? And I ended up showing at the end of that episode, I showed him where the base is for Space Force in Nice, Alaska. And like he was just dumbfounded, but it's exactly what you were talking about. I was there, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like I was sleeping. I was just able to see it. I just knew where all of this stuff was.
Yeah, I think we can bilocate here in the present, and we can also bilocate to the past and future because it's all running side by side, really, right? So that's how a lot of people can get prophetic things. Even though the future ain't written, we're seeing possible timelines, is what I think, right? Like we can go into possible timelines or past events, so we can bilocate there and view it.
Yeah,
it's kind of like our own personal time travel, right? Because we can access those portals because we have portals within our own body that we access, right? So you can go into sleep paralysis and access a certain portal that can take us to the future or one to the past, or else we're exiting this realm and going to like the Pleiades or Andromeda. I had experiences on other planets too, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't want to get into too much of that, but you know, where you're having a whole lifetime there again too, right? On another planet. And other times it's like I was just visiting there. But the most profound one I had was, it was like I was talking to God or Source Creator or something. In it was not the Akashic records that we focused on a lot. It was called the Book of Stars, which I never heard no one talk about. I'm trying to get more information on it. But I was shown that we can leave our body, or when we're not here no more, we're in more of a ether body where we can travel anywhere. It's like the Book of Stars. It's a grid. I think people are there doing energy grid work too. But it's like a bunch of points, and they're all drawn up with lines on it. And we can focus on one, this being, like say Source Creator, maybe, was saying you focus on one spot, and you can choose to have an experience there without having to be born into. So you can manifest a body at will, right? So you just focus on one spot and say, okay, I want to have an experience there. And I ended up, it was like I was going through this grid, I could see a bunch of lights around me, and I appeared on a planet that was like Star Wars where the Ewoks were. And I had an experience there everyone was living in like tree houses, and you know, the women were cooking, the men were out in the field, everyone was working together. So I had an experience on that life before I left. So right here, the realm we live in, it's the only one that we have to be born into to get here and die to exit. You know what I mean? Once we get outside of this construct, we can have experiences on other places and manifest the body at will. But the simulation, I don't really want to call it a simulation. It goes deep. It's not just here, right? It's within all the realms, I think. I think we have all of our realms in this one thing. And it's not a bad thing. It was developed as a place for us to have an experience because we get bored living in the infinity realms, right?
yeah.
But I don't want to get into too much of making people think I believe this or not. But what I was being shown, like through some of my latest astral travels, is we are in, well, basically a hell realm. It's almost like the Tibetan Book of the Dead. I just seen that on YouTube the other day, and I'm like, man, that's talking about the same stuff I've been talking about for years. It can be a hell realm or a simulation, like a digital copy of base reality. I think a lot of the stuff in the SSP and a lot of our travels is we are going back to the original Earth blueprint, right? Back to base reality, and we are in a digital copy. I think the experiment went so bad, it was like it got locked and deleted. Well, it got locked, and we were a digital copy here, and all the souls, there's only so many souls here, right? Like I said, none can get in, none can get out. So we've been in this simulation realm for a long time right now. And I think through portals, we're accessing base reality, and some of the SSP stuff is they're getting ancient relics and things that will bring energy to help bring down this construct. If that makes any sense, I don't know. But that's why we can't prove Tataria, we can't prove Atlantis, but we have pieces of it left here because it got copied into our simulation as well, right? So we have pieces of the old world within our construct as well.
It makes more sense than you could possibly know, and I'm so glad to hear somebody else say it, because Ninja and I literally sit and talk about this stuff almost nightly, about how, like, everything you've been saying in this show, how, like, we're not supposed to live in society, we're supposed to live in communities, right? I actually have my own personal belief that a large part of what the matrix system is the societal construct that we've been kind of duped into, and our grandparents and parents sold the family farm, so we don't take care of ourselves anymore. Nobody knows how to make their own damn clothes or grow their own damn food. So we've been taught to be reliant and compliant on the new system, and the more convenient it gets, the more rules they can put in, the more, and AI is the next thing that's going to make us even more compliant. It's already starting.
Well, yeah. Well, think of it. A digital copy is basically AI, right? We're like, everything's real here. Like, we're real. We feel pain. We hurt. Like, it's a, think of it as a simulation, but we're still very organic, right? An organic simulation. So our goal is, I think we want to get back to base reality, right? Then from base reality, that's when we can actually start accessing the other frequencies in the other realms, right? I think we can do it here, but only in astral.
Yeah.
Or when there is portals in the simulation. Like, that's one thing that come with. There is people that know how to get through these portals. We may have underground people with ships. You know, if you see coming out of the ocean, they know how to go in different portals within the ocean to exit the simulation that's keeping hidden from us. I think AI, when you think about it, like the metaverse, and we're all getting so programmed to AI, they know, like, we are being hit with new incoming light. There's beings back at base reality, like the Ascended Masters and the Archangels and whatnot, Pleiadians, Lyrans. There is new energy that they're bringing here, and they're hitting the simulation, like the new light that's piercing through the veil. And they're scared that we're going to bring the simulation down, and if that happens and we activate, so they are creating a simulation upon a simulation, the metaverse. They want to trap us in AI, just like, Oculus, and getting the kids used to AI. Everyone can't go without AI. Everyone's putting AI on their phone. Even the people are in the spiritual community are getting so involved in AI. So when the AI, like Elon Musk, I think Trump's helping bring Elon Musk in to bring the AI world, right? Because the Draconians, they want to play gods. The old demiurge, they want to be gods, keep playing gods here. So if a bunch of us wake up and ascend back to base reality, they want to control, they want to trap as much people here as they can in the new AI simulation, which people won't even notice the difference from that to this, because we don't notice the difference from here or remember base reality.
And that's something, before we get too far away, do you think, or sorry, I got sidetracked there. Give me a second.
Me too.
What would you suggest for people that are trying to learn to astral project? Like, what would the walk-in steps to that be? Right.
Okay.
I do want to get into the base reality thing, but before we get too far away from the astral travel, I want to.
Yeah. Okay. It's going to be somewhat to do with astral travel as well. Okay. I'm going to try to stay on the small side of astral travel while we talk about this. Like doing things like Qi Gong and stuff, which I'm trying to step away from using the word Qi Gong. Like the videos I've been putting out on my YouTube. The more that we can realize that we are not the self. We are not what we are brought up, taught in schools, what our parents named us. We're not the name. We are the I am presence, co-creating gods of this reality, of the I am. We're not the body. We're not the limited mind-body consciousness. Like what I tell people, just you put your hand on your heart and you just say, who am I? You get a weird sensation will come over you. It's your soul inside, right? Because your soul wants to wake up in this body that you're in now. Then you're not the who am I no more. You're the what am I? Like, what am I? You feel that glow in your chest and realize that you are the soul. I'm using the word ego, mind, identity again because that's what people relate to.
Yeah.
Like our thoughts in our head, our subconscious thoughts or whatever. So when you think about it, like we talk to ourselves all day, someone talks to us and we talk back and we listen. Who's doing the talking? Who's doing the listening? Is it really us? Right? Try to become the I am. Once we realize we are the I am, become self-realized, right? Like we are not this. That's where ultimate healing comes from. Was once you can sit down and realize that. Like what I've been doing every day now is like I've been having a hard time with bills, money, and all that stuff all my life, which is fine. Some of us are meant to experience that, right? But I always get by. The universe will always provide enough.
Yep.
And that goes back to the law of attraction. People want money, they want this, right? But what's been working for me is dropping all of that, saying it's all bullshit. Don't do law of attraction. You just wake up in the morning and say to yourself, you know, I am the I am. I want to connect with my higher self of the universe, my multi-dimensional selves. And all you got to say is, in this construct that I am in here now, something wonderful is going to happen to me today. That way you don't know. You're not saying you want money or want a new car or want a new house. You're not trying to manifest anything, but you're just saying something wonderful is going to happen to me today. I started that last week, and every day since then, something happened each day. Nothing major, but something that got me through that day and helped me out in a major way. Because I'm not focusing any attention on it. I'm just allowing, right? That you can say, I want to manifest money, $5,000. Or else you could say, I want to manifest a closer relationship with Source Creator. Because once you manifest a closer relationship with whatever, the all, you're going to allow abundance to come into you anyway, because we're escaping this monetary, materialistic concept. And that's works for healing too, right? Like the most important part of healing is in here, in your heart, right?
Yeah. Well, I actually just watched a video that really kind of goes into and ties into what you're talking about. There was a speaker, his name's KRS-One. First thing I had ever seen with him. And he was talking about how the masters and in the temples on the wall, they'd be like, you know, how do I get more spiritual awareness? How do I get in better touch? And they point at the wall, and then on the wall it says, know thyself. Well, everybody knows that. No. Say that to yourself. Don't say it out loud. Actually, I want everybody that's listening to do it right now. On the count of 3, say it in your head. Don't say it out loud. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Who just said that? Because you didn't open your mouth, right? But you heard it. Well, how did you hear something that wasn't noise? Right? Because you didn't make a noise and you didn't hear it with your ears, but you both said it and heard it. So who did that?
Right. Oh, that goes back to the who's saying it and who's listening, right?
Exactly. Right? And you can even do that with your memories, right? You don't see your memories with your eyes. You see your memory with your mind, with your subconscious, where everything is, right? Yeah. So everything you're saying is absolutely, in my opinion, true, because that voice in your head is the higher ascended version of you that is streaming the frequency so we can have this experience.
Yeah. And it goes to, like Joe Dispenza said it the best, is like, be conscious of your unconscious thoughts. You know what I mean? You can use that as a daily principle. Like a lot of times we're just going on our unconscious thoughts when we do something, right? But all of a sudden, instead of getting mad or doing something, just stop and say to yourself, okay, become conscious of your unconscious thoughts here. And a lot of times, you know, if you go do something that you didn't want to do, like you ended up going out drinking too much, you didn't want to, or else you're going to have road rage or something that's going to affect your life, right? I always put it this way. Picture yourself after death in a 360-degree panoramic life review, and you're watching yourself do that stupid shit. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, fuck, I was stupid. So just put that right now. Think of it when you're going to do something. Okay, if I'm looking at it after death life experience in a 360 panoramic view, watching my stupid antics, okay, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Stop ourselves now, right?
Just 1 second. Sheba, a friend of mine, Jessica, asked a question. Wait, do you not have an inner monologue? Most people, most 9 to 5 daily grind people don't. There is a lot more closed out, shut off people that don't have that internal mind dialogue or even internal vision. Like most people that are just in the matrix system are just existing. They don't have these types of functions.
No, you're right, and a lot of people that do have an inner monologue that are like you talked about, it's like the AI hive mind. We call them NPCs.
Yeah.
There's like, I know personal people that are friends of mine that are just like, no, if it weren't on the news, it ain't true. And go get your shots. Go to the doctors are right. Like, you don't know nothing. And
Yeah.
even though they're friends of mine, you know that's not them. They're completely taken over, right? Their body is not. Their thoughts are no longer their own, right? Even their inner thoughts are telling them this. So it's not like their inner knowing. Their inner thoughts are telling them this bullshit. It's part of the whatever universal. I don't know what you call it. 3D construct AI reptilian hive mind, right?
It's the ones where the programming has really taken in, exactly like what you were saying earlier. Like, we're given a name, we're given a religion, we're given a belief system, we're given a country to cheer for, we're even given races, right? Like, none of this is actually what we're supposed to be doing. None of this is actually real. A lot of this is just a distraction to keep us here.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Even when we go back to base reality again, like we did before we were a digital copy, I'll say a simulation now. It was made for an experience, right? Like we co-created all these realms right back to Infinity Realm, like for us to have experiences through from 1 to 12 within the Pleiadians, Arcturians, and there's, outside of here, there's whole other universes and worlds too, right? Like we're only operating on Harmonic Universe 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we got the Infinity Realms and places out here, different source creators. But think of it this, okay, when one of the last Astral Travels, I was working with it was weird to say, but the being come to me as Archangel Michael. And when we think of it this way, we think we're star seeds. We're not. And they're not aliens. They're our cosmic brothers and sisters. Think we have a father and we have a mother, right? So think of our higher selves. We have our higher selves. We have the higher mind of our higher selves. They broke pieces off to have experiences through all the different realms. So you could have an Arcturian altar, a Pleiadian altar, a Mantis altar, even a Reptilian altar. That's a part of our mother and father of our higher consciousness. So really, they are cosmic brothers and sisters.
I actually completely understand what you're talking about, because during my awakening, I had several sessions with a QHHT practitioner, and when she asked to speak to a higher version of me, it came through as Gabriel. I had no previous knowledge as to who the hell Gabriel was. I actually came out of the session, I'm like, who? And everybody's like telling me, it's like, oh, that's like an archangel. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I actually had to look up my higher self.
Yeah. That's why we say they're not coming to save us. Like the Pleiadians and Arcturians ain't coming to save us. They want us to realize that they are us. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some people say they're future versions of us, but really they're just us, right? They're all different aspects of the higher self. That's why I like to call it cosmic brothers and sisters all the time, right? Like, and they're waiting for us. Like, it goes back to that again, right? And same as the archangels, like they're not coming here to save us. They're saying, hurry the fuck up and wake up too, because it's like this realm. It's like the saying I like to say is that humans go where angels fear to tread. You know, a lot of these beings, they didn't want to come here. They don't want to come here and get stuck in this construct either, right? But they can. No. Like, you can be a part of Gabriel, because even the archangels, we have many parts of ourselves. Like the soul breaks off into monads. You know what I mean? Like, we're multidimensional, right? Like even Archangel Michael, Gabriel, and all them, they can set up soul shards to have experiences here. Like you could be boots on the ground, you here, as being able to connect with, say, Gabriel out here.
Yeah.
Like we all have higher selves. Some of us can be like a Lyran commander, or else we could be an archangel or part of the ascended master networks. We are here as boots on the ground, right? We don't want to be here as a victim. We're here as boots on the ground. We're in the shit. We're in the war. We're where no one else wants to go. We come here to battle this because we are powerful beings. And that's the same as one of my Qi Gong movements. Well, my celestial light healing. This one's very powerful. I'd like for everyone to do it, right? No, I didn't make a video for this yet. What we're doing is, like, I just hold my hands up for visualization, right? And I say, I accept that I am a cosmic citizen of the universe, of the multiverse, right? So just right now, we're accepting that we are a cosmic being of the multiverse. And I would breathe energy in down through my arms from the universe into my solar plexus. And I would bring energy up from the earth up through my feet the next time and say, and I'm also grateful to be here as an earth dweller. That way you're grateful as you're being here and accepting your higher your higher self as well, right? So I would breathe in energy from the universe and energy up through my feet at the same time and meet in the middle. That way I'm combining earth energy and the universal energy. I'm connecting my higher cosmic selves with me here as an earth dweller, boots on the ground, and connect it in the center in our solar plexus. And that is very powerful, right? That can help activate our DNA upgrades here. That was kind of one of the things I got learned from the Pleiadians, because a lot of my healing method I got in my book was I started channeling with the Pleiadians at first, right? It was like I don't know if I was there. It was like they were telling me that I was in, they taught this in Lemuria when we were higher strand beings before. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to get in belief system. It's like we got hit with a pulse from like the Anunnaki or whatever, and it downgraded our DNA so they could take over. Like one time we could cut off our arm and grow an arm back, you know.
Yeah.
Before, like back in those times. And I think the Pleiadians and the Lions came here back in Lemuria, was trying to teach them how to ascend the 3D frequencies for true healing, right? Then it just kind of got forgotten about over time. They just kind of killed that all out, you know what I mean? Put religion and this stuff was all witchcraft and voodoo for so long.
Well, yeah, and that's actually why I find it fascinating. Like Spingy just finished her level 2 Reiki, and like I talked about it on my last show, and I don't care because it's funny. I had my gallbladder out, as you know, and during recovery, I was having a lot of gastrointestinal and pain, and she had just finished her Reiki course. And she was laying behind me in bed doing Reiki, and I'm like, oh. She's like, are you kidding? I'm like, what? She's like, what? And I'm like, it just, like, something just moved down. Like, I got some relief. And then she kind of giggled, and I, like, ended up farting, and she's like, oh, my God. As she was doing the symbols, things were actually happening in my body. Yes. As she's got here on screen, I am the fart whisperer. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
No, it
Here's
was
one thing
the
I do
most...
to teach. Oh yes, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, when I do, I got a distant healing method too. What I do is it's through like quantum entanglement or whatever. Like I just bring up hologram bodies of the person I'm working on. Like I'll bring a hologram of you, and then I have different ways of doing it. It depends. I channel my healing individually, different for each person. It can't be the same. Like one time I brought up a hologram body of a person. That was like I was bringing in Pleiadian platinum light to fill that hologram body up full of light. Then I would bring up another hologram body, and that light go all through this one. Then this hologram body would come over this one here. You know what I mean? Then fill that light back in to fill that body up. Then I would like, it just depends. Sometimes it was a third body I'd bring up. Now this one's you. Okay, this is you, your hologram body of you now. Now I'll bring this one here that has the light that was come from the two, and you overlay it on the first one, then it automatically goes through you where you're sitting now, and will heal all problems. That was just one. I thought it was pretty neat, so I gotta try to remember how to do that. Like each healing I do is different, right? It depends on how they want me to do it. Like it's like I'm being guided each time on what to do, and I gotta try to put that into a course, like different ways of doing things. But ultimately, it's to make my course is to make it simple so you can make it your own, that you can change it up. Like I don't want no one to follow my course to a T and say that's how it's done. It's all about how to make it your own, right? But as far as just movements, it's visualization, right? It don't matter if I go like this or I go like this, because visualization is using your imagination, and imagination means magic nation, because magic is real, right? We were told that imaginary friends was all fake and all that stuff. So if you visualize, you're using imagination, you're creating magic spells. So if I just visualize energy coming into my heart, you know what I mean? I'm using my imagination. I'm doing a spell now. Okay, energy is coming into my heart and healing me. Yeah. So it's kind of that simple.
It's really cool that you bring up imagination, because that same speaker about the voice in your head thing, he actually mentioned the imagination too, because we're taught as little kids, like, don't do that, don't listen to that. Imagination is the North American translation for the word soul.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't know that.
Bring it through into one culture to another. It, like, imagination is absolutely correct. That is the that's the basic breakdown of it, but the translation of it was originally imagination is soul.
Right.
Right. So don't
Yeah,
Don't talk to
that's pretty
yourself.
cool.
That's your imagination. That's your soul, right? So that makes
Yeah.
absolute sense.
No, it does. Yeah. Speaking of our soul too, like we're more real on the other side than we are here. We think everything astral is just light bodies and orbs, and but we're more real there than we are here. Because that's the real world, right? We wake up from this dream and go back to the real world. We're more real on the other side than what we are here. Because over there we access our true divinity, right? And here we're not, right? Not yet. We don't know how.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a lot of projection, or not projection, intent, and like focus, because like to create thought it takes like 17 seconds, and who the hell has 17 seconds to think about anything these days?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have an interesting question in the chat. Don, did you see the beings in your room at the hospital? I mean, do you know?
Did this person
I
see
didn't.
the beings? The
I,
person's asking you.
yeah.
Did they
I
see
thought
beings?
something, or like, weren't you getting like?
Oh, there was a lot of weird energy in the hospital for sure. Like I could feel things in there. Yeah, I didn't see anything, but I could definitely feel other things around me, without getting too woo woo and crazy about it. But yeah, there was other stuff around. Yeah, and I like
I was
that
just looking at.
imagining. Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
I was looking at the
Something.
chat.
Yeah, something you talked about on Rob's show that really hit a nerve with me, and not in a bad way. This was fascinating. Um, your explanation of NDEs and Mandela effects, like personal and Mandela effects. Can you run through
Oh
that
yeah.
really quick, and then I'll get to my point?
Okay, I have to remember because, like I say, sometimes when I'm doing these shows, information will come into me, and I just say it, even though I don't even know. Like
Yeah, no,
when I talk about that just kind of come through me, and I just kind of blurted all that out. So it's sometimes hard to repeat things sometimes. But I'm trying to think of where I went with that.
Basically what you were saying is when you have a near-death experience, you're collapsing a timeline, which might cause personal Mandela effects.
Oh, yeah, this is just it's kind of strange. It's like we don't know this, but or a near death, or yeah, like just say because I'm gonna think how to go with this. Just say you were in a car accident and it was really bad, and you're like, wow, I survived that. Like, how did I survive something like that? Maybe you never, maybe back in that timeline you died and your family knows you did, but you chose to continue living another timeline as if you never died. But you don't know that, but your higher self, with whoever discussed that, okay, he wants to continue living it out just like it never ever happened. So you live out your life like everything's just fine. You had a bad car accident. You don't know why you survived. Everyone's happy you're alive, but things are different.
Yeah.
Now you're having your own personal Mandela effects because the timeline is just a little different, right? And because I have things that happen to me and it's not really Mandela effects that no one else knows about. I'm like, okay, that's weird. That's not right. Something's not setting right with me in this timeline. Maybe I did die when I had that three-wheeler accident, went over a hill. I don't know. It kind of plays with your mind, right? Because maybe another timeline, all of us died at one point and we just continue living it out
I
on another
have had
timeline with the same beings, but things being a little different.
I have had 6 NDEs that I can confirm that I died.
Wow.
And my life in my head, my concept of time, my understanding of when things happen is almost non-existent. I have drowned twice. I was electrocuted by 920 volts. I should have broken my neck in a motorcycle accident that almost cost me my legs. I've overdosed. I legitimately have 6 near-death experiences, and the last one was related to the gallbladder and the
Right.
peritonitis that caused the cardiac incident. That basically, I damn near crossed over on that one.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like I was a place that was the most beautiful place I've ever been. I won't go too crazy into it. But yeah, I have had legitimately 6 NDEs that I can confirm that I should be dead. And each one of them complicates the memory in my head of what's gone on in my life. So it really does make sense what you're saying. I'm like, okay, that's why, like, I'll say, oh yeah, that happened like 20 years ago. And my wife will be like, you mean 2 weeks ago? Right? Oh,
Well, this stuff can play on your mind. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's going on with me. I don't know if I'm a walk-in or else I was several walk-ins. Like, I don't have memories of my past. I can only look at it. I'm going back into like a 360 panoramic third-person point of view on certain things that I remember, and I can only remember certain things that I talk about my past. And other than that, I don't know anything else.
yeah.
And you know, a person could go mental thinking about this. So, and I think I was about to go mental one time. Like, there was one point where I drank a lot and I ended up in the psych ward for 2 weeks. But you know what? I was letting it take control of me. Like, I was drinking alcohol and turning psychic, so psychic that I was talking to people on the computer and telling them what was behind their pictures on the wall. Like, it was intense, right? And I liked it. I liked having those psychic powers, but drinking was bringing it out. I think I was tapping into more of the evil stuff controlling me. So I was basically told we have to operate in both worlds at once, right? Like, we can't let it consume you. You almost got to laugh at it. Like, sometimes like, oh, what the fuck's going on here? I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna go for a walk. You know what I mean? But that's why doing things. That's why, like, a lot of people don't do anything. They're just so drowned up in their work. Like, I'm back into going to the gym for bodybuilding. I go to martial arts 3 times a week. Like, all that stuff helps, right? Because when we're doing things, it's taking us away from the ego mind identity. We're doing something different for a little while. You know what I mean? A couple hours, you're taking a break outside yourself.
I believe that, and I really do think that there's a balance between the realities, because Spinge will be the first one to tell you, when all of that stuff with the SSP nightmares started, I almost got stuck there. I was almost one of those people that you were talking about earlier. I was like, oh my God, I've been on missions and I've been on the moon and that's all there is to me anymore. And then something clicked in my head and I went, wait a second. That's just an aspect of my consciousness. And if I can access that one,
Exactly.
that means I can access all of them. Right. And that's the fascinating thing about these experiences that we're having, and the astral and the bilocation and all of this, is we can safely get in and out of these vessels if we know what we're doing and do our homework and, you know, put the proper intention out that you don't want to do it at harm. You're not vacating the vessel. It's not open for grabs, because I've heard of that shit happening too. Somebody will check and something else comes in and then the other one can't get back in, or that kind of craziness.
Yeah. I have a few altars. One, like, I have a Palladian altar named Kairos, and another one called Exion that works in Elsalone. And that's where I'm getting my information of how the central sun Elsalone is sending energy through our sun portal into this realm here to hit us with the new energy. Because Elsalone, our sun's a portal, right? Even though I call it a digital copy of base reality, our sun is a portal. And Elsalone, you know, is out here somewhere. I don't like to think of it as space either. I don't want to get into that stuff tonight because I don't really know. But anyway, somehow through portals, Elsalone is hitting our sun, and we're getting the, you know, the EMPs and the solar flares.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think it's bad, right? People are spiritualizing their pain with solar flares. Like, oh my God, the solar flares coming in. I'm getting some sick. Blah, blah, blah. What we don't understand is we're supposed to go out and work with that energy. When we get hit with the solar flares, if we can go outside in the sun at that time and accept that energy and bring it in, it's helping us access the dream time societies a lot more. It's just, it will spiritually wake us and help us activate our powers, because when we get hit with EMP, it shifts our dreaming body to the side of us. It comes out of our body, it's over here, and we feel off, and it feels like we're getting sick, right? But boy, I don't know. This is just some information I channeled, and I can't quite put it together, but like, it hits us, and our dreaming body, I call it, it knocks it out of us. Then these EMPs are going to fill our body up with all this new energy coming in that somehow is supposed to help us with activating our DNA. I got to try to get more on that. Like I was channeling that info about a month ago, and I just kind of stopped.
No,
I kind of stopped channeling for about a month. So I want to pick up on that because that seemed very important to me. Because it was telling me that I don't even know who was channeling. Could have been my higher self. Like when we were getting hit with solar flares, something to do with Dreamtime societies. Because before we incarnate here, outside of when we had the incarnation trap, what I was shown was our souls would go to the northern lights, the Aurora Borealis, and wait to be born here. And that might have been the back door of incarnation, where we're hanging out in the northern lights, waiting for a baby to be born, so we could come in here and be born, right, without being stuck in that soul trap. And it has something to do with the solar flares. I just got to get more information on that.
Yeah.
Like the other night, I woke up, I was channeling out loud, but I can never friggin' remember. I got to record myself or something, because it's like more information I get in, I find important. It's like something else comes in and mind wipes me every friggin' time.
With this astral travel and stuff, something I've experienced, and I just have to ask because you and I seem to have very similar experiences. Do you ever wake up with like gnosis? Like just all of a sudden understand something that you don't have the formal schooling to understand? Like you're just like, how the hell do I know this thing?
Yeah, that's kind of been happening for a while.
Okay, no, I just wanted to.
It's kind of strange. It's a lot of it has to do with like music too. Like I play music, and it's just, I don't know. It's weird. I'm getting that energy from somewhere else, not from here, because I don't even practice it. But yeah, I'll learn a song that our band is doing, and all of a sudden I know the guitar solo before I play it. It's like I'm getting downloaded with the information somehow. But the last time I was out of body, and now I talked about that Rob show. I don't want to talk about the same thing all the time. But I was traveling. You've probably seen it. It was like a record. I was traveling. Each ring of the record was a different dimension. I was going through them all until I got to the center. It was called the Infinity Realms, and that's where I turned into a complete light body. Because I was looking at I woke up back in bed, but when I sat up, I was looking at my hands, and I was still translucent, see-through, as where I was in that center. That's after I transcended all 12 realms. And that's where I did have conversation with Archangel Michael there twice.
Yeah.
First time he didn't have a sword. He was flying with a golden staff, and he was saying something that my mission was to bring the Golden Light Initiative here to Earth, here to this realm, I guess. I don't like to use the word Earth, right? Because base reality, Earth was like an intergalactic trade place, right? It was beautiful, whatever, paradise kind of place, but it just kind of got out of hand, right, with all the shit that was going on.
Yeah,
that's how I perceive it. I don't know if that's even one bit of truth to that or not. It's just that's just how I'm seeing it when I'm going out of body. Like sometimes I'm out of body, I'm just in my room, but other times I am going outside the construct where I can look in, and I'm seeing like how all the other realms are tied together, like within the Pleiades and portals of how we're going to different places. So I don't know if it's any truth to that. You know what I mean? I could be showing the wrong thing. I don't know. I can only really talk about my experiences, right? I don't want to make it seem like that's what I believe. We could be on Earth, and the Bible could be real. Who fucking knows? You know what I mean?
And I admire that about you. I actually just posted a meme earlier today. Can you imagine if when you die, you just wake up as an alien holding a bong, and your friends are like, "Did you feel it?" Fuck you! No, I don't want to do that again.
No, it's like the aliens are sitting around. They have some really high special DMT, and they're like, "Holy fuck, man! I was just on Earth for like 50 years."
Yeah. I was this dude. His teeth were all messed up. He had a beard. Like it was just crazy. Like that's what's gonna happen. I'm just calling it.
But I did have out of bodies where I walked to the bathroom and looked at myself, and I was a completely different being looking back. And then when I went back to the sleep paralysis, I don't know if it was me or else I was seeing one of the fallen angels. It was Azazel, and I had a connection with Azazel for like a year after that. And what I was getting was the fallen angels were good, not bad. Like
I could see that. I could see that.
So I looked into it. I never studied any of that stuff. But when you look into the fallen angels, they got kicked out of heaven for teaching people how to sow and grow gardens. It's like, okay, what's wrong with this picture here?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Before we get going, did you want to tell everybody we were going to talk about the mission of humans here?
Yeah, that's kind of like how we started the show off, really.
Yeah, well,
Our
we'll
goal
wrap
is
up.
not to be, yeah, like, you know, our goal is to do our self-work and not become the product of society, become the I am as a co-creator. We are co-creators of, you know, we're all gods, and we got to activate ourselves and quit playing victim to whatever programs or society, and look at more, just tell people, I like to tell people just to look up things on self-realization, you know what I mean, to become self-realized, in that I am not, you know, you're not the limited mind body consciousness. Work on that kind of stuff, either in meditation, doing some energy work, but we got to do it every day. We got to do the work. People will study spiritual stuff and not apply it to themselves and think you know everything because you studied a bunch of stuff. I'm at fault too. I'm not doing it every day like I should, but get up every day, even if it's some of the things I did in my video where I'll teach some of the Qi Gong or something else. You do Reiki, you do yoga, but every day, you know, do your work each day, even if it's like manifestation. You know, something wonderful is going to happen today. I want to manifest a creator, you know, a closer relationship with source creator, my higher selves. I want to integrate the soul in with this body. You know, like I was saying, boots on the ground here are higher, accepting we're a cosmic, multiversal being of the cosmos. You know, each day do that kind of work. We're accepting that, you know, we're more than what we are here, but we're grateful to be here. We want to do the energy work because our bodies, we can't ignore our bodies. These were perfectly designed, you know, to all of our cosmic brothers and sisters. Like our body has all the mechanics. Our bodies have all the mechanics to open up portals, to heal itself, to upgrade our DNA, and to become powerful. They're just trying to keep us dumbed down. So just do the work every day of self-improvement, of trying to activate ourselves, whether it's going for a walk and just breathing, you know what I mean? And trying to connect with your higher self. Because everyone's like, you know, I think that's what we got to do. Just do the work. You can study everything and think you know everything, or maybe know everything. But if you're not doing the work, because like I said, our bodies have the mechanics, we're not doing it. So we're shut down. You know what I mean? If we're not doing any kind of energy work. Because the more you do it, that's how I became clairaudient, was doing Qigong. So if you're doing any kind of energy work, like our body's like a computer system, you know what I mean? Like our spleen is the gateway to the astral world. I don't know if anyone knows that. So if you're cleaning out energy of your body and you're keeping your spleen healthy by bringing, you know, doing Qigong or Reiki, whatever, working on different parts, that's going to help you access the astral world more. You work on your heart, you know what I mean? Yeah. All that kind of stuff. Like it's going to open us up more spiritually and more cosmically, and open up our telepathic communications to be able to channel ourselves. Because we don't want to have to rely on wanting psychic readings. We want to be our own, you know what I mean? Because we all have the ability, like every one of us. Like originally, we were called psychic humans. You know, we are psychic humans, but then there's other classes like the NPCs, right? Where they call it. I think our goal is to become. I had a word come in to me. It was like a mnemonic human. Like it's upgraded from a psychic human to mnemonic, whatever that means. I don't know. I have to try to look more into that. But you know, our goal is that like we weren't here that long. I don't think the Bible times was that long ago. I think our history's all lied about completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, just do the self work. Like I don't know how much. I don't even know how to explain that anymore. You know what I mean? It's just like we got to do work each day. We can't just go out and work all day, let the negative emotions take over us, and just. No. Unfortunately, we have to work for a living right now, unless we'll be homeless. But you can balance both. You can, you know what I mean? Get up 5 minutes earlier and say, I'm just going to do breathing exercises for the count of 6 in, out, just clear my mind, and say I'm bringing good energy in, negative energy out. Just even something that simple every day is gonna work, because then you're going to connect with your higher self, with your DNA, innate smart body I talked about earlier. You know what I mean? Our cells will start vibrating at a cellular level through every tissue and fiber. Our telomeres will start to extend. We'll get more strands of DNA. Just that kind of thing that we got to do every day.
I think you're right. And the only thing I could possibly add to that is something that Spingy and I have been doing, and it wasn't even something we started doing intentionally. Life got so shitty that we were just like, well, at least this didn't happen. And if it was the smallest thing that didn't go wrong, like life was shitting on us so bad, we had to start observing what didn't go wrong, like being grateful that you know, we don't have 4 flat tires, just 2, right? Like, at least it wasn't all of them, right? Like that kind of thing. And it did actually start to change the energy that was coming into our reality. And now some fairly cool things have happened. And I mean, within the matter of a couple of months, just in that
Yeah.
shift of perspective before, you know, like, oh my God, this sucks too. Well, at least it wasn't this. And now it's like, oh, well, it's this.
The heat over the weekend.
Yeah.
There was a couple of years ago, well, before, like, just before we left Ontario, there was a power outage for 3 days.
74 hours.
Yeah, and
Oh, wow.
it was like minus 25, and we did not have a wood stove. There was no source of heat, and so my son stayed in his room. I was in mine. We just stayed under the blankets, and that's all we could do. And
Yeah.
so fast forward to last Saturday night, I wake up around 1 o'clock and I'm like, it's awfully chilly in here. And I went and checked the thermostat. Our heat had gone out.
Yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
so
in minus 25.
Yeah. So Dawn got on the phone, and yeah, they were going to come in the morning. It's like, all right, we know that they're coming, and we know that we're going to have heat. That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Whereas back in Ontario, we had no idea when any of it was coming, and it lasted forever.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
quick solution instead of pulling our hair out. Like it really is about perception, I think, too.
No, it is. Like, like a lot of people just think they're all spiritual and try to portray themselves a certain way, but really it's not like that. I don't even like to use the word spiritual at all, because it's not spiritual, because on the other side it's more real than here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like people might not know about myself either. Like, my life's been pretty much turmoil for the last friggin' 15 years. You know what I mean? Just doing whatever you can to get by, like losing jobs, not rent going up, and can't buy food, and each day you don't know, right? So I think the more that we can focus on, like, the whole something wonderful is going to happen today in our thoughts and do energy work, we actually start creating the environment around us, right, as well, because we're getting rid of more of the negative energy. Sometimes bad things happen because our spirit is like, you didn't fucking learn last time, so here you go again. Maybe this time you'll learn, right? So I had to start walking away from things that I thought I had to do in order to try to do better.
Yeah. No.
It's kind of weird.
Before we take off, do you want to tell everybody about your courses and your videos and where to get all of that great stuff?
Yeah, well, right now I'm just trying to get people to actually watch me. You know what I mean? I've been trying since 2011, but it don't matter. Like, I'm not trying to be no famous YouTuber or anything. But my YouTube is under Jay Skyrunner. Jay Skyrunner. Just look that up. You'll see me on YouTube. And basically, the course, I got the info on my YouTube. But basically, what I'll be doing when I have more time to make videos, everyone's going to be able to access it for free, because I'll have everything on my YouTube channel. So it's, you know what I mean?
That is like the most anti-gatekeeper thing I have ever heard. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, like, I always put it, if someone wants to do it, when I get the videos all finalized as a course, if anyone wants to freaking donate $10, $15, $20, they can, because what I'm putting into it, I've looked up things. There's people that sell etheric implant entity removal programs for $800 to $1,000. My healing method does it all. Chip seal removals, entity removals, healing yourself, healing others. It's because everything's all the same when it comes down. Like I said, quantum entanglement, the cell at the finest level, everything's the same. An implant, etheric implant, is just energy. You remove it the same as you remove negative energy out of lung issues. It's all the same, right? You don't need 100 different courses. And some of the Qi Gong courses online, like, they want $500 to $1,000 just to learn, like, a level. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, if someone wanted to donate $20 or $30 or $10, I would appreciate that, just so it makes, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, I got to work and pay my bills. I'm not trying to do this to go out and make a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of service to self, not service to others. Like, I get hung up on that a lot. Like, I was doing readings because I liked them. I had people paying me for them, but I don't want to do them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Something's throwing me off about that. Like, I could be altered, like, tapping into possible time. I just got a little glitch there. Yeah, just look me up on YouTube. I'm gonna get back to videos. I've been really busy with work the last month, like trying to get this big job done because I went so long without no money, which I'm done now, so it's fine. I got next week off, so I can make videos. Like, so I'll have everything on my YouTube. You know, even if I only get 1 or 2 up next week, it's stuff that people can go on and learn for free. So
That's awesome. And I'm going to grab all of your links. Spinja has them already, and I got to put them in the description. So I want to thank you for coming on, and I want to thank everybody for watching. If you want to stick around after, I'd love to shoot the shit with you for a few more minutes. What I'm going to say is I'm going to close out with my normal, if you can go outside, please do so. But this week, I'm going to ask everybody to stick around for 60 seconds after, because a lot of you don't know I am a huge fan of indie music. And 2 of my friends, Daryl Ralph and Brian Crouch, have started a band called The Social Era. And my outro tonight will be their latest song, Never Been Kissed.
Cool.
So if you guys can stick around for a 60-second clip of that, and you can find them, The Social Era, on all audio platforms. I'm just going to take us off stage and roll that, Jay.
And one more.
Oh.
If you ever want to do a show again where we can dive right just on the healing, where everyone can kind of learn along with us, and I'll teach it live on air, we can do that someday.
That'd be cool.
That would be awesome. I will I'm booking May, so maybe then.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're cutting out now. It could be my internet connection. I'm lucky I made it this far, but I'm kind of freezing up now. Like,
okay.
So it could be on my end. Like your voice is getting all cut out now. It just happened within the last 10 seconds.
Okay. I'm just going to take us both off stage here.